Testing, testing. Can everybody hear me? Great. So, the other day, I went to the Scioto Audubon Metro Park. And so I did a project about it. This in the background is the Scioto Audubon Metro Center. But let's begin with the project. Alright, so first I have wanted dead or alive the Amur honeysuckle with this beautiful drawing that I made. It harms wildlife and it causes birds to starve, and it's poisonous. It harms the avian species, and it causes birds to not get enough nutrition because once they have the Amur honeysuckle, they want to keep eating it, and then they don't get enough nutrition. It arrived in Ohio in the 1950s, and it is native to China, Japan, Korea, and far eastern Russia. It is poisonous to dogs and humans. Removing one will save hundreds of native plants. It makes it hard for native plants to grow, and when the Amur honeysuckle is used for bird nests experience more nest danger, which means more creatures attack it. Alright, moving on. Wanted dead or alive, the calorie pear, and this is my favorite drawing that I made. It is wanted for replacing native plants and stealing sunlight, and it alters the soil as well. It alters the soil by releasing chemicals that suppress other plants. It arrived in the United States in 1909 because they used it for landscape because it looks really pretty. It is native to China and Vietnam, and it blooms before other species, which blocks their sunlight. And on January 2023, it became illegal to sell, grow, and plant them in Ohio. And all of these are from Ohio, or are invasive to Ohio, because I am from Ohio, so I wanted to do a local project. So, if you live in Ohio, it is illegal to sell, grow, and plant them in Ohio. Moving on, we have wanted dead or alive garlic mustard. Here it is. It sounds like a weird name, but I didn't name it. It is wanted for restraining other plants and obstructing sunlight, as well as lessening food resources for wildlife. It releases chemicals that restrain plants from growing, and it grows before other plants. It arrived in the U.S. in 1868. It is native to Europe and Asia. It replaces plants that are food to birds and butterflies, and it is also edible with no side effects for humans. So, you can eat them, but, they are invasive, so. Also now hiring the purple coneflower. This is a new section, now hiring. They're not actually hiring, and they're not actually wanted. It's just like I was kind of like playing because there's another video that's coming out shortly where I'm using these examples of now hiring. So now hiring the purple coneflower. Here's a drawing of the purple coneflower. It must provide pollen and food, which it does. The purple coneflower provides pollen and food, as well as housing, and it is native to Ohio. It provides pollen for pollinators. It provides food for bees, butterflies, birds, and other wildlife. It provides habitat for insects, and it is native to southeastern and midwestern U.S., which Ohio is midwestern. It is used as medicine It is used to shorten colds and the flu, and it is used to reduce symptoms. And if you look over here, we have a fun fact. You can take pills with food or water to shorten the duration of flu or a cold. I will get to this name in a moment. But moving on, also now hiring the black swallowtail butterfly. Here's a drawing I made of the black swallowtail. It took me a long time, but the black swallowtail is a celebrated pollinator, and it removes chemicals from plants that are poisonous. It is a great flower pollinator. Its hosts are poisonous, but they use uric acid to detoxify them. It is native to Canada, or southern Canada, and eastern and midwestern U.S. So once again, it is native to Ohio. It lives for about 2 weeks, and females, so it only lives for 2 weeks, but the females lay 30 to 50 eggs per day. That's around 400 eggs. But moving on, we have insect-pollinated flower diagram. Now, it may be a little hard to see this stuff, so I'm going to move on to this slide. Here's a more zoomed-in version. First, let's look at the female parts, or the pistil. So we have the ovary, right here. This little oval part is called the ovary, and it has ovules in them. And ovules may look a little like seeds because later on they will become fruits, but they can only become fruits if, oh, by the way, this is an insect-pollinated flower. It is not a wind-pollinated flower. A wind-pollinated flower is very different, and I might pull up a picture of a wind-pollinated flower at the end. But this part is the style, and this is the stigma. And I'll get to the point of those in just a moment. But first, let's talk about the male parts, or the stamen. So here, these things, those two ovals on top of each other, are called anthers. So there's anthers here, 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 and here. And the anthers are held up by the filament, but the anthers produce something that you probably know as pollen. And so this is where pollen comes from. And so how does the pollen escape the anthers? Well, down here you can see the nectar, and up here you can see the petals. The petals are very colorful because they must attract insects and other pollinators. So the pollinators, here, hold on, let me find a bee. So here we have a bee, and so he's like, do. Oh wow, here's some very colorful petals, and is that nectar? So then it comes down and it rubs against the anthers, but it comes down and sucks the nectar out of the nectary, and then it goes back up and flies away, but not always, because the stigma, sometimes when they leave, they brush against it, or when they're coming up, they brush against it. And so they put the pollen, the stigma is sticky or spiky usually, and so the pollen gets stuck to there. The bees and other pollinators can go to the same flower, a different flower but on the same plant, or a different flower on a different plant, but it has to be the same species of flower. So I'm gonna leave our little bee, our bee buddy, up here for now, and I am going to get a picture of pollen. So this is a little big. So the pollen, I'm going to group these together for now. And so the pollen, so the bee gets the pollen from the anthers, and then when it comes out, it can brush against the stigma, and so then the bee leaves, and it brushes against the stigma, and then the pollen goes down the style and around the ovary to the ovules, which, like we said, later become seeds. They cannot become fruits without pollen. And so what I just showed you, let's do a good way to show. So it's like, it comes down, and then come down here, and it gets the anthers, well, it gets the pollen off the anthers, and it sucks the pollen, and then it comes out, and it leaves the pollen there, and then it comes down to the ovules. So what I just showed you was the sexual reproduction of an insect pollinated flower. And so you probably see that down here I said the stigma collects pollen and the anthers produce pollen. But the stigma collects pollen, the anthers produce pollen. And so down here we see sepals and the receptacle and the stem. These are all the structure of the flower, and then attracts pollinators. We have the petals and the nectary. There's two nectary, one here and one here. And so, yeah, that is the sexual reproduction and the parts of an insect pollinated flower. Here's the full diagram, but here you can see a picture of Minecraft. Before we get to that, if we go back here, you remember the fun fact. Well, the coneflower's scientific name is Echinacea. The coneflower's scientific name is Echinacea. And so, over here, it says you can take Echinacea pills with food or water to shorten the duration of the flu or a cold. Do not take those pills on an empty stomach, and you should always take it with food or a large glass of water. And you should take 3 or 4 a day if you have a cold or the flu. But anyway, you are probably wondering, this is a science video. Hold on, I need to do something. This is bugging me. Okay, whatever. There. this is a science channel. Why are we on Minecraft? Well, look closely. This is probably an average garden. An average yard of an Ohio, and minus the river or lake. But this is an average garden. And now we have a native garden. I will post this video on my channel, but you can also watch it here. All of these animals are native. You can see what they are down below. And so I also put some humans just because. And so here we are. This is a native garden. Now if we go back over here, we can see that I spawned some bees, some ocelots, some bats, some horses, and some foxes, as well as some humans. All these flowers that you see are native. You can ask me what they are in the comments. But you can also see bamboo growing over there. And if we take a close look, we can see cacti over in the corner. And some lily pads as well. So all of these are native. All of these trees, a cherry tree, some spruce trees, some oak trees, some dark oak trees, some birch trees. Those are all native. We can see over here we have some crops. We have wheat and some other crops, which you can zoom in on if you wish. You can also ask me what they are. But this is a native garden in Ohio. All of these plants are native to Ohio. But yeah, that is all I have to say. So yeah, this is my project about the Scioto Audubon Metro Park. Here's me at the Scioto Audubon Metro Park. Thank you. This video took a long time to make. And this is my second time presenting this. I had to present this to my family first, so that's how I got this fun fact. And so I put it right here. But these are the questions. Some of them I did not get to, like what is in pollen that helps the plants reproduce. I did not get to that in this video. Or how does the purple coneflower help colds? I did get to that. And how the calorie pear got to Ohio from Vietnam and China. Well, they got here from landscaping purposes. They are very pretty, and so that's why they got to Ohio. Thank you all for watching this video. I know it was rather long, but you should be looking forward to another video including these. I will be putting in this video on my YouTube channel. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And that's all. Bye.